Hi guys, Rachel with Spunky Misfit Girl here. So we did our covers for our Manila folder journal and they're all nice and ready for a signature. And with these, since I'm just using this natural fold in the Manila folder as my spine, I generally just do one signature. Otherwise, I would want a bigger spine in there. And for my bigger journals that are hard covers, you know, I do a separate spine. And I think I have videos about that I've done in the past about how I make the hardcover journals, which I'll look for and try to link up in the description. So let's put together our signature. I printed out a bunch of pages. So these are all from different kits of mine. The floral wallpaper one that we've been using is most of them. And then I've got a couple in here that I thought were pretty from the Blue Ferns kit to kind of mix it up a little bit. And I printed these at 93%. Just because I sized my covers at about right to fit so that I could use 8.5 by 11 pages and not have to cut them up beyond, you know, just cutting the edges off. So that's all I did. I printed them at 93%. This is pretty light, regular copy paper. And then just trim those white edges off of them. Their backs are mostly from the neutral backgrounds kit. So there's no white in there, but there is going to be a lot of writing space. So I'm just taking all of these and folding them in half. And I usually do somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 pages in a signature for a journal like this. So I did 8 like this. And then I have a piece of coffee dyed paper, which is a full 8.5 by 11. So I'm probably gonna have to trim this one down a little bit. So I'm just gonna stick that in there and mark it about here and about here where it'll fit. And then I've got a couple of other shorter pieces of paper, smaller pieces of paper, and I pulled an envelope to stick in there. I usually do an envelope with these. So I want to give that a good amount of room away from the edge to turn that into a pocket. So I'm just cutting that end there. So that guy will be ready. And then I also have my, my envelope flip that we made in one of the recent videos to put in there as well. So I'm just starting to pull together my signature. This guy is a piece of old French paper. And I think what I'm going to do is actually, let's see how it fits. Ooh, it's a little bit tall. So I think I'll cut it off down at the bottom because I would like to sew it in this way. But what I'm also going to do is give it a little bit of reinforcement. And just put some washi down that where the fold is, because I think otherwise it might be a little bit too flimsy and it could come apart too easily in our journal. So I'm just going to give that a nice good stretch of my washi on both sides to give it a little bit more. It is kind of old paper, and hopefully this will help it have a little bit longer life in my journal. Okay, so I've got a little piece here that I'm folding in half that I'm going to slide in there too. And then I've got this guy as well, which I think I'm just going to kind of give a slightly better fold to. And then this guy, see if we can't get our fold in the middle of that piece of washi there. Okay, so then we're just gonna pull our signature together here. I think I'm gonna lean toward putting this guy close to the outside because it is a little bit big. And if I get it too far in the inside, it's gonna end up sticking out and I won't be able to adjust it. So I'm gonna get these guys. This might actually be a little bit much and I might have to make some decisions and pull some things out, but let's see. So we've got that guy on our outside. Let's pull some of these guys in first. A couple of the floral wallpaper to go inside of there. And I usually kind of, you know, switch it up little by little. Put that together in ways that I think looks good and gives me a nice, nice changes here and there. So I'm putting my envelope in there with the flap in the spine. I'm gonna get some of these guys in here. And another little short guy. I tend to very often end up with my coffee dye papers in the middle. I kind of like it that way. This guy is too big. I forgot to trim him off. I marked him and then I got into doing my washi tape. So let's cut him down now. Put that pretty baby in there. And then this one. I wonder if that one's going to be too big width-wise too. It very well might. Okay, so this is my signature. It's very chunky. It's much more chunky than is usual for me for these. So I think I'm gonna look at this. Yeah, that's gonna be too much. So I'm gonna actually pull, I'm gonna pull it down 3 pages for those insides, and just, if I have to cut, I will cut, and that's fine, but this guy is more chunky because usually I do my decorating after putting them all together, but we're good, we're okay. I'm just gonna take this guy in the middle. I'm gonna take these 2 guys in the middle and I'm gonna cut them down a little bit so that they're not sticking out. I think this one here is just a little bit longer. So let's just give that a little zippy cut. And we'll slide that back inside into our middle. And we'll see, this might be a slightly more challenging sewing job here, just because of our flap, our envelope flip that we made is making things a little harder. Yeah, so that's gonna look good, okay? So now we're safely inside our edge. I've kind of tucked my signature of pages with my envelope flip inside of here, inside my covers, and I'm gonna use a, I don't know, what do you call that thing? I've lost my words. This clip, office clip, binder clip, to clip my pages to my covers. And then I'm going to use my awl to give myself a hole in the middle. And I'm just eyeballing. And actually I'm thinking, so normally I would do these with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but I think given that this is a little bit bulkier, I'm going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And that'll be something new that's a little different for you guys too, because I've done 3-hole pamphlet stitches quite a bit before. And then that'll be a little more sturdy. So all I'm doing with this right now is just poking my holes. So I did one in the middle, one about half an inch from the bottom, half an inch from the top, and then I'm gonna go for another 2 in the middle of those for my 5 holes, okay? Most of the time I would just do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and that's quick and easy, and it's up to you. But I think this will be a little bit better since this guy's getting a little chunky already. So I've got my needle. I'm going to take my beeswax thread. This is my nice soft stuff, and I'm going to do 3 times the height of my book. And I'm going to thread that guy in my needle. And give myself just a little bit of a tail there. And firstly, so I want my sewing to finish on the inside. So I'm going to start from the inside to the outside. If you wanted it to show and you wanted it to finish on the outside, you'd go the other way around. So we're going to go out from the inside in the middle. Again, leaving a bit of a tail here. And so then we're going to go down and we're going to go in through the next hole. And this is the bit where it can sometimes get tricky because you got to find that direction of that hole that you've pushed. So we're going to come, I can feel myself getting lost inside the pages. There we go. We're going to come up through that hole, and then we're going to go back out through that bottom hole. But first I'm going to push through with my awl again because my holes are a little bit tricky. So I'm coming back out through that bottom hole, okay? And then I'm going to go back in through this one here. So just making that next stitch. And I'm really having trouble with these holes because of how bulky this is. So it's making it more challenging to show you guys this, but I'm coming back up through that hole right there. Okay, so now here's the only slightly tricky part. I'm going to skip that middle hole and I'm going to go back out through the second hole from the top. Next, okay? And I'm just kind of pulling as I go to make sure I keep this tight. So then I'm going to come to the top and go back in, and then I'm going to go out through that second hole again, and I'm going to come back in through the middle, and that's going to be my last stitch here. Just trying to get this to not come straight through my my thread. There we go. Perfect. So that is my 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And I am going to then take this one end underneath and the other end on the other side and just do 2 knots. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut that off just so that it's inside of my size of my journal. And that's kind of preference. You know, you can leave it long and let it hang out. Some people like to put little little dangles and baubles on there. You can also make it shorter if you would prefer. And so now we have our journal ready to go. And isn't that pretty? I'm pleased with how this one's turning out. I think I probably will put some kind of lace on my side here. Something like that could be fun as a part of my decoration. I have to do some plotting and some playing to figure out what I want to do with this cover here, which girl I want to use on here. But look at this, we've got all kinds of fun stuff that we're gonna get on here. I don't know what yet that I'm gonna actually use. I pulled this, that's pretty, but I don't know. I might want some kind of bits of these guys too to reflect the inside. I don't know yet. I have to spend a little time playing around. And the first thing I have to do before we actually decorate the cover is put some kind of closure on here. So I kind of wish I had brought all my ribbons so that I could do that now. But I have this guy. We could use this. That might be okay, actually. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that just so that we can do this now. There's lots of different ways to do a closure, but this is one of my favorites on these especially, just because it tends to be kind of a good way to do it with these. That's maybe a little bit extra long. I tend to make these very long so I can make a nice big splashy bow, figuring also that I can always trim it once it's on there if it ends up feeling too long. So all I'm going to do with this is get it to where I want it in terms of length and kind of where I want it. It's going to be ultimately underneath the decoration on the cover. So I'm just going to glue it in this area for now, thinking that that will be a space that is covered up by cover decorations, right? So it's lace, it's a little bit gooey, but all of that will get covered up. And so, whoops, I'm getting you. So this back side, again, up to you if you're gonna cover it or not. You know, you can glue it, you could leave it to hang, but I don't think it's such a big deal if you glue it and it's a little bit gluey. But I also don't want, since this is lace, and as you can see, it's going right through onto my table here, I don't want to stick my journal to my table, so I'm going to set it upright to let it dry until we get to doing that cover. And I will do a little bit of noodling and kind of figuring out some plans for that cover. And we will do a video decorating the cover, and then maybe doing some decorating of the inside. Usually with these, I don't do a ton of that. I cover up the envelope that's in there, and I do some pockets on the front and back, but I don't do a lot else because they are quite a bit more work. I tend to leave these just a little bit more free space with blank pages for people to write in and create their own pockets and things like that. And they seem to be pretty popular. They sell pretty well. So that is sewing in the signature for the Manila folder journal. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me. I hope you had a good time with this. This is just an idea for a thing that you can make with some of my paper packs. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying these projects.